Hello everybody, this is Sayyida Radazabi. Welcome back to Legal Lens. So today we'll be discussing about the basic structure of Indian Constitution. The basic structure is not defined in any of the laws, but it has been brought through various judgments in the Supreme Court of India. So the one of the most important judgments of this is Golaknath case and Keshwananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, the most important landmark case of India, which each and every law student must be knowing. The most important case which had given the basic structure doctrine to India. So today, let's talk about the basic structure. So let's begin. So, the basic structure doctrine. The basic structure doctrine is, as I mentioned, it has not been clearly defined, but through various judgments of the Supreme Court, then some of the points are given which could include the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. That is supremacy of Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme most law in India. Now, nobody is being above the law in India. None of the authorities or even the parliament comes under the law of India. The constitution is supreme most law of India. So, separation of power. As we know, we have three organs in our Indian constitution. That is legislative, executive and judiciary. So, among all the three organs, the powers are being divided equally. The legislative, which make laws in India, and the executive, which implement those laws, and judiciary, according to the judgments in the Supreme Court, the judiciary implies or implement that particular law in their judgments. So, the separation of power among all the three organs also comes under the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Federalism. Federalism, where the laws are being divided among the parties or among the branches in the government. And secularism, as we all know, India is a secular country where India is a secular country where laws are not made on any particular religion, where laws are being made on all general public, where all are treated equally. So, rule of law. Rule of law is a thing where the authorities of the government, where the three authorities, the three branches of the government, legislative, executive and judiciary, all the three authorities are also accountable to the government of India. As I mentioned, nobody is supreme over the law. Everybody is accountable to the law, which provides equality and fairness among everybody. So the basic structure basically includes the thing which would not violate the secularism of India, the democracy of India, the federalism of India. So the things which would not violate the laws which are being made in India should not violate these particular things. The laws should be made beyond this. The amendments or the alterations, whatever had been made in the constitution, should not violate any of these things. So now let's study about the basic structure doctrine. So the basic structure doctrine is basically a principle which states that the legal frameworks, what are the laws are being made, should not violate some of the structures or some of the points, that is democracy, secularism, federalism in India. It should not violate the rights of the individual. The laws or the amendments which are being made, it should not violate the individual's rights. So this basic structure doctrine was basically introduced in a case law of Keshwananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. So, in the case of Keshwananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, this case we got the basic structure doctrine of in the Indian Constitution. So before this case, there was a case of Golaknath, which this case has been overruled. In the Golaknath case, the petition was filed that either the Article 13 is valid or not. It's according to Article 13. We cannot amend any laws which contains the fundamental rights of the people. If any of the laws or amendment violates the fundamental right of the people, that won't be considered as a valid law. So, the Golaknath judgment stated that Article 13 is totally valid and none of the laws which contains the fundamental right of an individual can be amended. So that was overruled in Keshwananda Bharati. So let's begin with the background of the case. Keshwananda Bharati, the main petitioner of this case, Keshwananda, was a head of a Adnir Mutt. The Mutt was there in Kerala where he owned a particular acres of land of that Mutt in Kerala. So the Kerala government had passed a Land Reform Act of 1969, according to which it restricted to hold a land of that religious institution. The Land Reform Act restricted a particular person's right to hold the property, basically right to hold over so many acres. Where some acres were not in use of the institution, the Kerala government restricted it. So Keshwananda Bharati and others filed the petition in the Kerala court. Then it went to the Supreme Court of India, where Keshwananda Bharati challenged the 24th Amendment, 25th Amendment and 29th Amendment of Indian Constitution. So that he also had filed a petition on the Article 26 and 19 Clause 1 Clause F, which is being repealed now. But at that point of a time, Article 1 Clause F was a right to property. Each and every person had a right to property according to Indian Constitution. It was being considered as a fundamental right of a person according to this article. And Article 26 states that the person has a right to run any religion institutions or any of the religions matha as run by Keshwananda Bharati in this case. So, according to these two articles as well as Article 25, that each and every person have a right to follow any of the religion and practice that particular religion. So, according to these three articles, Keshwananda Bharati headed to the Supreme Court, where he also challenged the amendments, that is 24th Bharati also challenged 25th, 24th and 29th Amendment of Indian Constitution, among which the 24th Amendment stated that any law, the certain laws which fulfill the social and economic obligations can be amended. The 25th amendment stated that there should be restrictions in the property, in holding of the property, and the 29th amendment stated particular of 9th schedule. The 9th schedule states that it contains of some of the list of the acts of state as well as the central government which cannot be amended, which cannot be challenged, the acts which cannot be touched further. Those acts are being listed in the 9th schedule of Indian Constitution. So, it raised the questions, does a parliament really have a right to amend any part of the constitution? According to Article 368, it is given a power to amend the constitution, but there are no limitations or restrictions under this article. So it was questioned in this case that can parliament really amend any part of the judgment, or does parliament has absolute power to amend any part? Does it not have any limitations? So in the case of 7:4 judgment was passed. So there were 13 judges bench in this case. There were 13 benches, among which the 7 were in the favor of the judgment and the 6 were not in favor of this particular judgment. So whenever we pronounce comes, if there are more than two judges, when the case is being discussed, we usually consider it in a ratio. So the 7:6 ratio was being passed in this particular judgment. So the judgment stated that the parliament has power to amend any part of the constitution, including the fundamental rights. It overruled the Golaknath case and stated that 13 is not valid. It can amend any part of the constitution under this act, and also stated that 24th is valid, 25th is not valid, and 29 is also considered as a valid. So, in this judgment, though Keshwananda Bharati lost the case, but it stated that the parliament has the power to amend any part of the constitution, including the fundamental rights of the people. But it gave us the doctrine of basic structure. The doctrine of basic structure is not specifically defined or any definition is given to that, but it states that it should not violate the things, it should not violate the preamble. Basically, it should not violate the particular things mentioned in the preamble, that is secularism, democracy and federalism, as well as I mentioned in the starting of the video, the separation of the power. It should not violate the specific basic structure. So basic structure is being defined through various judgments in the Supreme Court. It is not particularly given a definition or a theory on that particular doctrine. In the case of Keshwananda Bharati itself, the doctrine of basic structure evolved in India. It came into existence in India. So after this case, there are many case laws in which some of the cases also overruled Keshwananda Bharati as well. So that's the end of today's video. If you guys have any doubt in this video, please do comment below. And if you want me to make videos on any of the legal topics or current affairs, please do comment below in the comment sections. For more legal info, please subscribe Legal Lenses. Thank you.